I always come into companies and the CEO tells me, Professor, these people all say we are horrible. And I say, great. He's like, well, what is wrong with you? I'm like, no, because if they wouldn't tell you what's wrong, that's worse. But if they tell you what's wrong, that means they would like still to come back. They care. They believe you care. But they tell you the best thing. They tell you, fix what's broken.
Welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host, Chandni, and we're really glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to CX and tech experts from around the world. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual, no-code digital CX platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, Professor Dr. Phil Klaus is widely considered one of the leading global customer experience strategists. He is the chairman of the PK Customer Experience Institute, founder of Professor Dr. Phil Klaus and Associates Consulting, Professor of Customer Experience Strategy and Management at the International University of Monaco, best-selling author of Measuring Customer Experience. His award-winning research has appeared in numerous books and a wide range of top-tier academic and managerial journals. He's an experienced manager and management consultant with an active international portfolio of blue-chip clients for whom he advises on customer experience strategy, profit enhancement, next practice, and business development. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you so very much for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. But before we dive into our interview with Professor Dr. Phil Klaus, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap on the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders around the globe. So diving right into the interview, Doctor, how do we define what a great customer experience looks like? And what are the core elements that organizations need to keep in mind while maintaining a healthy relation with customers?
It's almost a double-barreled question that you're asking there. What's the best customer experience to deliver? It depends upon your customers, of course. A lot of managers believe it's A component of this, B component of that, C component of that. But it's like when you go in a great kitchen, even if you have all the ingredients, somebody will make out a master dish out of it, while somebody else will come up with something that's not even good to look at, but it's not tasty and it's probably non-digestible. So in terms of what managers need to do, they go back to the basics. And back to the basics means, first and foremost, you have to find out what matters to your customers, not the customers of ours, on your target segment, the people that you want to have, the people that you want to have buy from you more and more often and talk positively about it. In terms of how to deliver a great customer experience, people always think about we need to deliver great customer experiences. This cannot be farther from the truth. And to be quite honest, just to get that out of the way right away, our master is the truth. I'm a professor of customer experience strategy. So I'm a scientist. I'm not going to tell you something that looks good or sounds good. I tell you the truth because our master is the truth. So we are just providing you with evidence that you can then apply in order to become more profitable. Because at the end of the day, it's about profits. This is what our companies are for. In order to generate profits, you need to understand what matters most to your customers. Because only there are the number one source of profitability, revenue, sales. You can only cut that much cost, become that much effective, but you always have to look at what matters to your customers. And what matters to them most, how we as consumers make decisions, It's not who delights us and who wows us. It's the person that is delivering less negative experiences than others. Think about yourself for a moment. Reflect. If I would ask you, when was the last time you had a great experience? It might take a moment. You would have to think, great experience, good experience. Yeah, I recall something. If I would then ask you, can you describe what made you feel this way or why you consider it good or great? Most people are struggling with that because it's a combination out of so many things, what comes together, the context, a particular place, a particular moment where the magic happens, so to say. Well, if I ask you, when was the last time you had a bad experience? Most of you will come right away. I got it, of course. And then when I ask you, why was it a bad experience? You're like, because of X, Y, Z, time, date, how it made you feel, how it was right. So you can be very precise. Why is that? Well, first of all, it has to do with us being human beings. So sharing negative experiences and getting them out of our system is a way to cope with stress. So it's a biological protection mechanism that we talk about these things. When you share pain, it becomes half. When you share pleasure, it doubles. But we are more in the business of sharing pain because it's what really drives us insane, to be quite honest. And now think about how you select the companies you're working with. Go with something very mundane, everyday, your bank, probably your accountant, where you buy grocery stores. I cannot recall the last time somebody said, my grocery store delighted, or I had a great experience there, or somebody telling me about their incredible experience they had with a bank or a financial service organization. It's normally the lesser evil. So when you think about it, also think about what positive and negative experience do to us as consumers. Think about everybody is out for us being a brand ambassador. People are like, oh, we need to create brand ambassadors. Quite an ambition. I always say the best brand ambassadors are the ones who were upset before and then believe you still care about them. Positive word of mouth. With how many people do you share a great experience? It's on average 3, not more, 3. That's the magic number. And why? Because we share it only with the ones that are very close to us. True, And why do we share it with the very one that's close to us? Because we care about them. And the way we are sharing it, we're not putting it on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. No, we tell it on demand when they ask for it, or when they want advice, or when it comes up in a conversation. So you say it once, and it immediately goes out. That's it. But think about negative experience. Grab your phone, tell the world. For everyone who has internet access and the app, they can look at it. It can influence them 24/7 for the rest of your lifetime, probably even longer than you are on the planet. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that on average, negative word of mouth reaches 300 customers. 3 versus 300. You don't have to be a mathematician or a brain surgeon to figure out that it takes 100 good experiences to compensate for 1 bad experience. Now think about how many great experience we have and how many bad experience we have. When we put that on a balance sheet, it's clear that we have more bad experience than we have good ones. So we're more likely to share them too. So what should companies do? Don't try to delight, upset us less. Because 1 saved there saves 300 potential customers. So if you want to know how to manage customer experience successfully, fix what's broken. This is what we want. And it's so easy because we tell you exactly what it is. that needs to get fixed. But if you ask us, why do I have a great experience? I cannot really tell, you know.
Absolutely correct. And at a lot of times, you will also, not talk about a good experience much. But then when you talk about a bad experience, you will note every detail, every point of it, because, the customer service representative said this, then I replied that. And if it is good, you'll be like, oh, that was great. Thank you. So absolutely on point. You also talked about brand ambassadors. So, do you think brand ambassadors in any way play a role, in customer success or in customer experience?
It depends on your definition of brand ambassadors. And people normally think about influencers as somebody who's high up there. But let's be quite honest. Brand ambassadors are only going to be valued if the experience they promise is matched by what I perceive. So again, it's counterproductive when people have an influencer who says, oh, you should go out, it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you come back and you say, no, it's not. You know, it has the opposite effect, because what you're going to do is you're going to tell people, these people are trying to fool me. It's not true. My experience is like this. So the famous brand ambassador and influencer thing is always backfiring people. The best brand ambassadors, for the lack of a better word, are the people who know what they're talking about, customers like you and I. Think about when we go on Amazon. You know, there's a company who tells you that we are doing this for 50 years, this is a good product. And you say, couldn't care less, you know, it's marketing, it's advertising, you're just going to tell me you're great. So you scroll down to the customer reviews, because they are not brand ambassadors, they are customer experience ambassadors. They tell you, no, it didn't work, or this was horrible. And you and think about it. This is people always say, how is that possible? And I said, nothing new here, just the platform has changed. Because even if you meet a stranger who says, you know what, Mrs. Sharma, I tried that, didn't work out for me. I wouldn't go for it. And you would see a commercial say, come for it. You would say, I don't know the guy, but he tried it. You know, he's more trustworthy. As a matter of fact, in today's, when we look at our research over the last decades, only 1 out of 10 purchase decisions is influenced by marketing. 1 out of 10. 9 out of 10 are influenced by our peers. And I don't like the word brand ambassador, because they are not brand ambassadors, they are just sharing their experiences. And sharing experiences, as I elaborated on before, is a very human thing that we would like to have. So we trust a John Doe in Idaho that we've never seen. We don't know, do they have the same interest? Do they read the same things? Do they believe in the same things? We trust them more than a company telling us who does it for 50 years. That should tell us everything there's need to know about brand ambassadors. But what you can have is people that talk about the experience they have with you. And it's not with a brand. A brand, it's a bird's nest. You know, when people say, what is a brand? I always say, think about it, a bird's nest. Describe to me, for example, how you think about a particular brand. Oh, it's my experience in the store, how people perceive me, the label, the people there, how it makes me feel, how it looks like, the advertising of it. I said, well, can you not put it down in one thing? And you're like, no, because it's complex. And this bird's nest looks completely different. No bird's nest is the same. There are some bird's nests who are larger and we relate to. Things like when you hear made in Germany, what do you think about?
Perfection, I mean, great engineering, great quality.
There you go. Think about it. But not every company in Germany has great engineering, great product quality, and so on. But the brand is established in our head, not because of the brand, but because the experience we have with that brand made in Germany. manifests itself in a little thing in our brain. And the thing that we have to understand is there are no best products, there are no best services. That doesn't exist. They are only the best perception in the mind of your customer. I always take my kids with me, and children give you a nice insights on customer experience. You know, they both have the same dish. One says, Papa, che schifo. He didn't like it, sorry, in Italian. Yeah. And my daughter said, meraviglioso. I liked it. It didn't change the dish. You know, the dish is exactly the same. But the perception of one and the other is completely different because they have different values, they have different tastes, they like different things. So for you, it's important. Your product is never the best. What you can be is have the best perception in the mind of your target customer, not in all customers, your target customer. So coming back to the brand ambassador thing, try to make a loop here. Whoop. The best ambassadors for customer experience are, statistically speaking, and we have a piece of research for it, forgive me, I only share with you things that are the truth, where we have evidence, not what we think things are, what things are. So the best brand ambassadors, meaning the people that speak highly about your company or the experience they have with you, are people who had first a bad experience, but you fixed it in a way. These are the people, because think about yourself, when you have a bad experience, something goes wrong, you know, you expect that your telecommunication or something goes wrong all the time, you know, human behavior. So we did a piece of research trying to figure out what do the people do after they received a solution to their problem. So it got fixed. B, it wasn't fixed, but the person they spoke to had the right skills. They showed that they really care. So surprise, surprise, the company that delivered the experience in terms of we delivering a solution without the part, the care, didn't get people to become more excited. They didn't come back when they had a chance to switch, they switched. And we asked them, why? You know, why in God's name? And they said, well, they provided me with a solution, but I felt they didn't care, you know. Then the people who were cared about but didn't get a solution, where the guy said, are you coming back? Definitely. And I will recommend them whenever I have a chance to. How is that possible? They didn't fix the problem. Yes, I know. But I believed he or she really cared about me and my problem. It's when you think about caring and curing, you know, people look for care, even if you don't have the cure.
That is why we can rightly say that, you know, a happy customer can be a brand advocate, right?
Easiest thing, think about if somebody is happy, they normally don't tell you. So you're kind of fishing, you know, you don't know how shall I communicate with them? What shall I offer them next? I have some data, not insights, so I guess. But often the guesses make us go away. When you get some kind of recommendations, you're like, what are you thinking? You don't know me. I go somewhere else, you know, because today we can go somewhere else by the click of a mouse, you know. We don't like it, off you go. Today, the world is our oyster, 24/7. The local one doesn't have it, the regional one doesn't have it, then I get it wherever I want to, the way I want to, where I want to, how I want to, when I want to. End of story. You're out. Attention span, loyalty is not there. What you can have is that people talk positively about the experience they have, or if they talk negatively, hallelujah, because they only talk negatively because we care. Think about yourself. Imagine this. We're going in a nice restaurant together. Mrs. Sharma and I, we go out. She shows me, she knows I'm vegan, so she has a nice vegan restaurant. I'm like Indian cuisine, great with a vegetable, vegan should be fine. And then we go there, and Mrs. Sharma really liked it at the beginning. And then she's like, not that good. And Professor Klaus sits there and says, this is not okay. Now we have two options. Mrs. Sharma, I use you as an example. You could do the exactly opposite. Mrs. Sharma is very polite. So she's not confrontational, and she's like, no, I'm not going to say a word when they ask me how was it. Professor Klaus, on the other hand, has the feeling that they care. They see, I have the feeling the waiter really cares, the family that runs it, they are really into it, But I will tell them, listen, this is not good. Can I talk to the chef? This is even for me too spicy, So can we do something else? And then I see how they react. But I only tell them for one reason, because I believe they care and they do something about it. Because how often have you been to a restaurant or to a service where they ask you, was it okay? Or on a scale from 1 to 10, would you recommend us? And you just give them a 9, or you go and you never do it again. But in the meantime, you're on your phone and you write to everybody, don't go in that restaurant. Oh, the food is horrible. And the service, oh, please don't go. And when they ask you, you say, yeah. And this is the greatest thing. I always come into companies and the CEO tells me, Professor, these people all say we are horrible. And I say, great. He's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, no, because if they wouldn't tell you what's wrong, that's worse. But if they tell you what's wrong, that means they would like still to come back. They care. They believe you care. But they tell you the best thing. They tell you, fix what's broken. And this is broken. You don't have to hire a management consultant to go out there. They clearly tell you what is broken. So all you need to do is two things. Number one, most important, fix it. But number two, also very important, tell them that you fixed it. There's nothing worse with getting no feedback for feedback. When you get this generic one, oh, we are working on it. Or thank you for your email. And you're like, so what? Companies wonder why people don't fill a service out anymore. Why? Why should we fill out? Nothing changes, nothing will be addressed, and we don't know what's happening. So I have better things in my life to do than filling out a satisfaction survey. But if I tell you what's wrong, the best thing you can do is come back and say, Ms. Sharma or Mrs. Sharma, I'm not sure, depending on how you would like to be addressed. We fixed it. We did this, we did that, and we hope in the future you will come back and give us another chance. I would say, yeah, I give you another chance because you did something about it and you told me about it. Not just, oh, we're working on it. I'm like, what is that, a construction site? I'm like, no, tell me what you did.
So moving on to my next question, Professor. What is the impact of digital transformation on customer experience, and how can we get better on it?
Let me put it in this way. I love that when people ask me, can you help us with a digital transformation? And I say, no. They're like, why? I said, I help you with your transformation to become customer experience centric. That's what I'm going to do. And if digital is a part of it that's valued by our customers, then we will do it. Otherwise, no. Not every digital transformation is beneficial for customers. Easiest example, you got something like this, and I'm sure all your listeners will have something like this too. I would say, check how many apps do you have? Most people are like, ooh, many? I said, how many of them did you use frequently and give you a good experience? Using frequently, 3, 4, 5. How many of them deliver a good experience? 2. And I'm like, okay. So at the end of the day, somebody was very clever there in their board meeting, and they said, we need an app. Everybody has an app, and it's digital, needs to be good. needs to be for millennials and for everything that comes after them. So you're going to be happy. But then I get it as an app and I try it and it's the worst experience I have, which leads me then to two things. Number one, I tell people this app is horrible, not that they're going to fix anything on it. And the second thing I do is I don't do business with them anymore, because customer experience is the weakest link chain. One chain is weak, the chain is broken, and it's never going to be again. And you're like, you know what, guys? Nice try, but I go somewhere else. And why did you ever offer me an app in the first place? And some companies these days, they're really pushing apps on you. Financial services, they pretty much say, you need to have an app or we don't do business with you. I'm like, why? Who said that's a good thing? I hate financial services apps. None of them is any good. I said, I'd rather have my good old laptop or call up people or do it online, because the app is, then they ask you for codes and SMS and this, is it you? And you're like, oh, people, really? This is destroying my customer experience. I go somewhere else. So again, I say digital transformation, no. Transformation to become customer experience centric, yes. I transform you to a company that knows, acknowledges, and acts upon what matters to our customers most. If digital is a part of it, hallelujah. If not, off. Digital can be a great part in the customer experience, though, if you do it right. Let me give you an example. Our latest paper on artificial intelligence and the use of voice bots and so on. We found out that 85% of all people in the next 3 years rather speak to artificial intelligence than to a human being. So in 3 years down the line, 85% of our service interactions will be with robots, with algorithms, artificial intelligence. And why? Because it's better than speaking to a human for most of us. Not for everyone, don't get me wrong. Ooh, I can already hear the people, oh, no, this is not going to happen. No, it will happen. We tell you the truth. It's data. We ask people. They talk to a human being, they talk to a robot, and we ask them many times, which one do you prefer? Number B, why? Two things we value as consumer. Number one, consistency. Why do we value consistency? We've all been there. Call center, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you're very important to us. I'm like, yeah, great. Finally, you get somebody, they have no idea what they're talking about, they cannot make the decision, and then they say, let me forward you to my supervisor, and then you get cut off. And you're like, oh. So what are you gonna do? Again, 20 minutes, and then you go again, and you have to tell the whole story again. What I need is somebody picking up the phone right away. If I hear one more time somebody saying, we experience an unusual amount of calls right now, I say, you morons, you have software that shows you when these things go up. So you need to be, you can calculate, and there are simulation software packages for it, when you need more people to pick up the phone. So it's your fault, not my fault. But still, we keep going. So we are finally there. My artificial intelligence, in terms of costs, from the company viewpoint, is much better. You don't have to pay people. And also consistency. Artificial intelligence never has a bad day. Artificial intelligence is always polite. Artificial intelligence, because it's not paid by in 2.5 minutes, I need the next caller, can talk with us for hours. Artificial intelligence has all the information of all our calls, all our interactions at their hands. They don't need to read it up or interpret it. They say, Mrs. Sharma, the last time you called, you mentioned that your sister is now at the university. Did she get their exam? Did she? Yeah, she got it. Thanks for mentioning it, artificial intelligence. And the last time you called, you had a challenge with this. Did we fix it? And you're like, yeah, but today I have something else. But thanks for recalling. You know, who wouldn't want that? And the person is in no rush. Not a bad day, not a cough, not trouble with a boyfriend, girlfriend, not a customer yelling at you. They're always calm, they're always collected, they have all the time in the world. They are consistent, they are convenient, they save me time. If I want it quick, I get my solution quick. If I have time, I get time. If I want to talk, I can talk. How great is that? I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to type in again numbers. I don't need the birth name of my mother or my residence, because in the moment artificial intelligence sees my phone, does voice recognition, know everything, you're the right guy. No questions asked. Isn't that marvelous? And you don't wait 20 minutes in line. I always say, who wouldn't want to have that? And everybody says, well, I would like to have that. I said, well, but you don't get that with human beings. You get it with artificial intelligence. Then people say to me, yeah, but I need a human being. And I say, okay, can we run an experiment with you? And we run an experiment and we say, which one had the best customer experience? Number 3, yeah, not a human being, sorry. People always think about artificial intelligence like a robot that talks and doesn't have any social or empathetic. Today, artificial intelligence has the most important part already, the good ones, the really good ones. They are socio-empathetic, a skill that in the past was missing. But they are not only good at it, they're getting better at it. You know, they're better as human beings. Patience, you know, empathy, maximized. Who wouldn't want to have that? So when people tell me, oh my goodness, so we should go for chatbots. I said, no, you should only go for chatbots if the chatbots deliver the experience I'm looking for. So only the best people who now jump on the chatbot wagon, before they have the right AI capability, will destroy the customer experience. There it's better to stay with human beings until you're ready. So again, what managers need to learn, don't be obsessed by tools, toys, and technologies. Don't jump on the bandwagon. What you need to figure out is you need to be obsessed with what matters most to your customers. If you do that, you're going to be what we call the vanguards, which are the most profitable companies in terms of customer experience. They outperform others by 600%. And why? Because everything starts and finishes with one question. Is it something that matters to our customers? Will they perceive it and will they value it? If all 3 are answered with yes, 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 we are going to do it.
This really implies the situation that we are in since a year, right? Since lockdown and COVID happened, all the companies just jumped on the bandwagon of going digital, or opening out, getting apps, or opening a website for everything. And even if they don't cater, as you mentioned, even if they don't cater to the needs of the customer, they still opened up app, or they still have chatbots coming in and all of that. And that's absolutely well said, well put out there, Professor.
Also, we do a lot of research with ultra high net worth individuals. So the billionaires of the world, the few selected ones. So we do research with people who buy super yachts in the hundreds of millions of dollars, have their private jets, private helicopters, have their private islands, They buy art like there's no tomorrow. If you ever want to have a 1 in a million cars, they have them. So we do a lot of work with them, which is quite delightful. And you would think about these kind of things in luxury and so on, that they have that. But again, same principle applies. People would say, mismanaging my expectations. They promise so much that they set themselves up for dissatisfaction. If they just would upset me less, they would have me. Again, it's managers have a tendency, when you talk to luxury managers, say, what's your purpose of your company? They always say, exceeding our customers' expectations. I love that. And I say, okay, quick exercise for the board. Take a sheet of paper, write down what you expect from a service or from a company like yours. Just 5 people. Then we put it together on slides because it never fits in one slide. And I say, okay, okay, do you think you can match these expectations? And they said, no way. No, no way. I said, I asked 5 people only. And you say you exceed expectations. You don't even know your customer's expectation. By saying I exceed, what do you raise? Expectations. So what happened will, you will fail. You cannot even match it. How can you exceed it? Yeah, and what does it lead to? Negative word of mouth. And let's be quite honest, negative word of mouth with such a unique sample. Let me put it in this way, when we talk about super yachts, there are only 50 to 70 built a year. If you have a negative experience there and you talk about it, you destroy everyone who could be in this business for you as a client. So luxury, I love them. You know, luxury is one of these industries which are blessed by low supply and high demand, because otherwise they would have no chance to survive. In every other industry, they would be long gone. I remember, do you remember when Hermes opened up the stores in China again? And they sold out their products in like a day. And they gave out a press release that they sold so many items or so many millions in one day in the stores. And I remember a very well-known journalist called me right away. He said, Professor, I'm sure you have a different opinion on that. I said, yeah. How would your press release read? My press release would read, for the last 9 months, Hermes, because they don't understand customers and their need for e-commerce, lost sales of 20 times that amount. And he's like, yeah, but no one sees that. I'm like, yeah, this is the difference of a company who thinks they know their customers and of somebody who knows what matters to customers. This what science, you know. But hey, good to them. If they got away with it, good for them. But their customers probably said, you know what? When the next COVID comes, shall I wait again until you open the stores? No, I go somewhere else where they have an e-commerce that matches my needs, which means to buy where I want, when I want, how I want, from whom I want. So much about COVID-19. And by the way, COVID-19, people say it changed consumer behavior. No, it did not change. It accelerates tendencies that are already there. The people who before had the chance to go in the store because it was convenient for them, all of a sudden had to face that luxury and e-commerce. The one lives on Mars and the other lives on Venus. There are exceptions to the rule, but most of them are horrible in terms of e-commerce. I remember a nice lady sitting to me in an airplane, marvelous, you know, and she said, I know you. And I said, how do you know me? I'm not familiar with you. I read your book and I read your articles. So I'm like, oh, that's very kind of you. She said, look, we designed our website. And I said, would you like to share it with me? And she said, yeah, very proudly. She showed me her website and I looked at it. What do you think, Professor? Not good enough. How can you say that? It's the best luxury e-commerce site in comparison to our competition, which she named. And she said, and I said, yes, it's better than your competition. But when I, as a consumer, shop online, I don't compare a Fendi with a Gucci or a Gucci with a Louis Vuitton. I compare you with Amazon and Alibaba. And if it's more complex than buying something on Amazon or on Alibaba, you failed. She said, but we are better than the others. I said, yes, but we don't compare Gucci with Fendi, with Hermes. We compare buying online with other platforms where I buy online. So if you don't deliver, you're out because it's not good enough. Ah, okay. I said, you cannot you cannot put me in a drawer. Think about yourself. When people say, I'm a luxury customer, he's a financial service customer. I said, guys, or he's a car customer. I said, I buy a car every 3 years. Otherwise, I just drive one. You know, it brings me from A to B and that's it. You know, my life is bigger than having a car. So you need to realize how you can fit into my life and deliver the experience that make my life better, rather than thinking about how you are better than the competition.
This takes us to our next question. How can we inculcate the customer-focused strategy and interaction strategy in customer experience?
If you think about integrating customer experience in your company, then you belong to the preservers. Remember that I said we looked at, for the last 10 years, we looked at over 2,000 companies around the globe who have a customer experience program for at least 5 years. So they have a dedicated customer experience program and they have it for a long time. And we looked at them, how profitable they are and how good they are. And most of them are non-profitable. 9 out of 10 are non-profitable. And you know who these companies are? The companies who think about how they can integrate customer experience in their program. We call them the preservers. So the guy who did customer service before is now doing customer experience. The lady who was responsible for service management is now the customer experience manager. Rebranding doesn't work. Customer experience is not a public relations exercise because we as consumers cannot be fooled. You might get away with corporate social responsibility because I cannot check up on it, you know, and you do the right things, you got the right packaging, and it says sustainability should be good. But my experience, I feel it. If it stinks, if it's awful, I can feel it. And if a commercial says, we care about you, I'm like, apparently not, because you're not delivering. So customer experience is marvelous because you cannot fool people. You cannot fool me in a good experience, or you cannot fool me in a bad experience. I experience it. So no public relations will make that away. So if you have now a customer experience manager, a website, and you do the Net Promoter Score, and it doesn't change anything with the way I experience interactions with you. And therefore I go somewhere else. So if somebody says, we need to somehow put that in there, you got it completely wrong. That will never work because you cannot somehow integrate it. What kind of manager are you if you don't understand that the number one source of your revenues, profitability, is the customer? There is nothing more important than the customer in your company. No customers, no money. You're out, gone, see ya. So what you need to understand is to understand these people. And if you just want to integrate it, you have another one coming. You cannot integrate it. You need to make it the strategy of your company, not something that you can put into a department. It's bigger than that. If you don't think about your customers and you still survive, it's just a matter of time until somebody comes along where I say they understand what matters to me better. See ya. So everybody who says we want to integrate it, I say, good luck with integration. Buy a software package, knock yourself out, make somebody a customer experience manager and measure NPS. You will never make it profitable. The people who make it the most profitable, remember, 600% more profitable. They start with the customer. Everything is about the customer. It's not about integrating. From the salesperson to the receptionist to the lady in accounting, everybody knows the most important focus of our customer, of our business is make our customers happy. That's it. They know it. And then the companies say, yeah, but can I become a Vanguard and become 600% more profitable? I said, well, first of all, statistically speaking, the chances are very low, to say the least. Only 1.2% of all companies we are looking at are Vanguards. It's not a lot. The majority are non-profitable. But the good thing is, if you go towards it, you become more profitable. And let's be quite honest, let's get a reality check here. If you tell today a large company, I can make you 0.5% more profitable, they give you the best job in the world, they roll out the red carpet, and off you go. So don't aim for 600, but go there. So you might want to integrate it. I should say, you might want to start integrating it. You might want to start understanding it. And when you understand, it's like domino effect. Once you start, everything falls into place. But you need to first figure out what matters to these people. What are the experience they have with you? Without that, everything is just window dressing and will go nowhere. Sorry, but again, don't kill the messenger. I'm a scientist. I just tell you the truth. And again, there might also be an exception to the rule, but it's just a matter of time. You can hear the clock ticking. I always do something very funny. These books when they're from good to great, service excellence, like this airport books that you buy, where they say, oh, be like company X, be like company Y, yada, yada, yada. I buy them always 10, 15 years later and look if the companies are still there. And most of the time, the companies are not the number one anymore. I said, why should you be focusing on this? Look at who has always been there. And when I ask the CEOs of the Vanguards, the one that outperform anybody, is why do you do it this way? They laugh at me and they say, is there any other way to do business? They're like, what's the alternative? Really? I'm like, yep, that's it. You guys got it right and everybody else is struggling.
Before wrapping up the interview, are there any other sound bites that you would like to leave our audience with?
Let me put it in this way. The most profitable companies are the ones that compete for their customers, not against others. They never look at the competition. They say there's no competition. Our purpose is we need to focus on the customer. Then, customer experience centricity. Everybody talks about it, but only a few practice it. Practice what you preach. And the only way you can win this game, longitudinal, being here for the foreseeable future, is by being obsessed with one thing. Be obsessed with what matters to your customers. Fix what's broken. By telling me you delight me, you only maximize your chances that I go away. Remember, 3 versus 300. It takes 100 great experiences to compensate for one hiccup, for one bad. That's about it.
Thank you so much, Professor, for giving us your time. Your insights are really valuable, and I know our audience is really going to enjoy this interview.
You're very kind.
So we'll be back with a whole new episode and a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you.